I'm Morgan Fallon, and I will be doing a lesson plan on moon phases. Clearly there are no students here, so I'm just going to be teaching directly to the video. This is a lesson plan made for first graders, which I have completed with first grade class before, so I will just be redoing it again. Okay. Alright, so today class we're going to be learning about moon phases. Who can tell me the best time to see the moon? When is the best time to see the moon? At night, right? Does anyone know if we ever see the moon during the day? Just a fun little quick question. We do, right? Sometimes we'll see it in the morning when we wake up, even if the sun's already out, and sometimes we'll see it in the afternoon, right before the sun sets. We might see the moon right in that big blue sky. Okay, does the moon look the same every single night? No, it does not. Can I have a couple volunteers to come up to the board and draw some different phases for me, or some different shapes of the moon that they've seen before? So up here, we have 3 different shapes that students have seen the moon. They've seen it in a full circle, they've seen it in a crescent, and they've seen it in a half moon. Each night, the moon does look different because it goes through different phases. Does anyone know what any of those phases are called? Who knows what this big circle is called? When the moon is completely a complete circle. It's called the full moon. Perfect. Does anyone know what the word for this shaped moon is? It's probably a word that a lot of you might not know. Good. So one student has told me that this is a crescent moon. And what about this moon? What do you think it's called? A half moon. There's also another word for it, or another name for that moon, or that phase of the moon. It's called the first or the last quarter. It looks like a half moon, and a lot of people call it that, but the scientific name for it is the first quarter or the last quarter, and I'll tell you the difference between the two. Okay, so every 27 days or so, the moon goes through a cycle of the different phases. A cycle just means that it's going to, it might start as a full moon, and then it's going to go into different phases around, and then it's going to come right back up to a full moon. So it just repeats itself after 27 days. I'm going to show you a website, and it's called Stardate. This website will show you the different phases of the moon for each day of the month that we're in. So right now we're in July. So I'm going to pull up the month of July. These are all the different phases the month of July is going to go through. So today is July 2nd, and the moon is going to look like this. It's kind of in between a half moon and a full moon. Okay? So that's what it's going to look like tonight. So I want you all to look at the moon tonight and tell me if this is what it looks like. All right, now I have 4 different phases of the moon circled up here, and those are the 4 we're going to focus on today. Who can tell me, and we have already kind of said it, what this moon circled in green looks like? So that moon, just to get a closer look for you, is this one right here. Hopefully you can see that. I don't think you can. Good. It's the full moon. It's showing the whole entire thing, the whole circle. We see the whole moon. What about this one circled in blue up here? And I want to give you kind of a hint. So if this is the full moon, and we know that it goes through a cycle, so if we look here, it's going here and it's becoming less and less and less and less and less all the way to here. And then after this one, it grows, right? So this guy circled in blue is called the new moon. Does anyone know why we can't see the moon at all in this photo? Or in this phase? Well, my next question for you is, how do we see during the day? We see through sunlight, right? So the sun in this new moon phase is completely behind the moon. So there's nothing shining on it. That's why we can't see it at all. So we have our full moon in green, our new moon in blue, And then we have a yellow and we have a black phase, 2 phases circled. And I kind of told you what they were called. They're not called half moons in the science world. What are they really called? There's 2 names. Good, they're called the first and the last quarter. How come we can only see half the moon? Kind of has to do a lot with the new moon. That's right. The sun is only shining on half of the moon. On the other half, there's no sun. That's why we can only see half of the moon. Perfect. I'm so glad you guys remembered that. Who can tell me, so both of these show half the moon. What's the difference between the 2? I'll give you some time to think about that. It's much simpler than you think. What's the difference between this half moon and this half moon? The difference is that one shows the left side of the moon and one shows the right side. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to make this a little bit easier for you. I'm going to put these phases on a clock because it's going to show you the order and it's going to help you remember which one's the first quarter and which one is the last. So up here, I have the new moon because the new moon is going to be grown. Then we go down here to the first quarter. The first quarter is at our 3 o'clock mark. Our new moon's at 12, our first quarter is at 3. The way to help you understand that this is the first quarter is knowing that the first quarter, the right side of the moon is shown. And I put the first quarter on the right side of the clock. So we read left to right. So our moon is on the right side of the clock. Then we go down to 6. What's at 6? The moon is shining completely bright, completely in a circle. It's called the full moon. Perfect. Then from the full moon, we go up to 9. So if this is the first quarter, what's this called? The last quarter. So there's 2 ways you can remember this. Last, left. The left side of the moon is showing. So last quarter, left side. Or you can remember it on the clock. The moon is on the left side and the 9 is on the left side of the clock. Okay? All right. Perfect. So the last part of our day today, because we're only talking about 4 parts of the moon, is going to be this game that I made up, and it's called Moon Bounce. I printed out the 4 phases of the moon. So I have the full moon, I have the new moon, I have the last quarter, and I have the first quarter. I printed these out in multiples, and I'm going to split you guys up into groups of 3 or 4. When I split you up, I am going to put the phases of the moon in the correct order. So, just like up here, I'm going to put new moon, first quarter, full moon, last quarter. Excuse me. What you guys are going to do is one of you in your group is going to stand directly in the middle of these 4 phases. Then, I am going to call out a phase. And your job is to jump to that phase as quick as you can. But here's my big question of the day. When I ask you to jump, does that mean that you're going to be jumping and kicking and flailing all around so you possibly hit somebody? No, right? You guys are going to have safe bodies during this game. And if I don't see safe bodies that are just jumping like this, or up, or back, or side, if I don't see that, then we're not going to play at all. And I will find a worksheet for you guys to do. Is that understood? Capiche? Okay, awesome. So, I'm going to split you guys up, and then we're going to get going on this game. And after a few rounds of me calling the phases, I'm going to switch it to your peers in your group, and they are going to call the phases for you. I will also let you know when to switch people in and out. Okay, sound good? All right, let's get to playing. And that's the first part of my moon phase lesson that I taught to first graders They absolutely loved the moon bounce game because they were getting up and they were being active, and I didn't have to tell anyone to, keep their bodies safe. They all were able to do that and be perfect little first graders. So that's my lesson, and thanks for watching.